Hey everyone, I am Nathaniel Rumpeljans, and this is Prime News. So, on today's Prime News, we have so many stories to get through. This might end up being the longest episode ever. I don't know. I'm going to try to condense things as much as I can. AKA, more news reporting, less opinions. But let's just get through what we can. These are 2 pages front and back. Let's just get her done. The first story we're going to talk about actually deals with SEGA. So Sega had their Fez 2018 festival this past Friday evening or whatever, and there was a live stream, and they announced some new things, and 2 of the new things they announced that matter for us deal with a new Sega Mega Drive Mini was announced. Now, some people have been, hey, where have I seen this before? NES Classic Edition, SNES Classic Edition. Unfortunately, that doesn't really appear to be what it is. It's being made by AT Games, and they claim it's going to use new and improved tech, and it is going to release in Japan first and U.S. and other territories later this year. But the issue is that it's AT Games. AT Games has been in charge of pretty much all of the Flash versions and pretty much every single classic edition of Sega anything, and all of them have been completely crap. They have yet to make a single good one, and just because this one looks nice doesn't mean it actually plays nice. Just to give you guys an idea, a lot of the issues with AT Games stuff is that it's terrible emulation. Sometimes they mess up the sound, they mess up the colors, they mess up. There's been even times that the frame pacing has somehow gotten off. The emulators they've been using have always been terrible. Even though they're promising new tech and this and that, my PC emulates this stuff better than this, and this is just not good. If it was, to be fair, benefit of the doubt, when you say new and improved, maybe it really is new and improved, but is it good? I feel like we now have a new standard set with the NES Classic and the SNES Classics out there that Sega is just going to fall short of. I can't get excited for this product knowing that AT Games is behind it. But it's a thing out there, and this is notable because obviously a lot of games that were on Mega Drive and stuff like that were also on Nintendo systems, so there could be some games on there that didn't come out with like the SNES Classic and stuff like that. So you have a high chance of seeing some games on here that maybe you remember from your childhood as a Nintendo gamer. Moving on, SEGA Ages was announced for Switch, and it will include 15 titles, or at least 15 when it comes out. It includes classic titles from the Sonic franchise, Thunder Fury 4, Phantasy Star, along with Alex Kidd, and another game I haven't heard of. Alex Kidd's inclusion is interesting because it is there because the game sold extremely well on Virtual Console in Europe, and they might be using those kind of stats for other future releases on the platform. What's interesting about this is kind of like their way of releasing their classic games, right? They're calling it SEGA Ages, but it's going to be a continually updated thing where you can continue to get all these games. And yes, this is coming to Switch. And it is that they are going to be looking into adding Dreamcast and Saturn games in the future. So yes, all of you Dreamcast fans, all of you Sega Saturn fans, we finally might be able to get to replay these games on a system like Switch. This is going to be fantastic when this finally does come out. There's no tentative release dates yet. We're hoping it's going to land this year. But the Dreamcast and Saturn ones won't be there at launch. That'll be added down the line. A continually updated process like this, like a rare replay / virtual console / arcade archive kind of thing going on here. Whatever this is, however they decide to release this, whatever they charge for it, I'm excited to play all of Sega's classic games on Switch. In fact, they did note that the idea is to eventually have the whole of Sega's classic library on Switch, so we'll see what happens there. The second big story, man, this is a really big one that hit over the weekend. Nintendo has filed a brand new patent for portable screens that can interact together. Now, is this a new version of Switch? Is this something else entirely? 3DS successor? Is Nintendo getting into just a straight-up tablet business? We don't know. But what we do know is a few things that the patent says, and I'm going to go over it right now. The patent, which was filed on April 12th, is for a game system with a plurality of information processing apparatuses that are capable of communicating with each other. These processing apparatuses are located inside standalone screens, and by touching 2 or more of them together, information can be relayed between them in order to produce new game experiences. Examples in the patent application show a finger being dragged from one screen to another without the other system losing track of it, as well as a ball that seamlessly moves across the connection between the 2 screens that don't need to be necessarily making physical contact either. As one of the images shows, a gap between the two with the ball still able to move from one to the next. Perhaps more impressive is the ability to bank a ball off of the air, so it approaches the second screen from a different angle. It appears one screen can even be angled upward in order to provide momentum for an object as it approaches the second screen, such as a bowling ball about to hit a set of pins. The connections aren't limited to just 2 screens, with one image showing 3 screens connected to create a 3-dimensional image. This is really interesting because this doesn't really, I mean, there's gaming applications here. Obviously, they talk about bowling, the ability to bank things off of like the air, the gap between them off the air. You could be talking about something like a pool game as an example. That might be kind of interesting. But what I find really cool about this is it's just one of those out there ideas. This sounds like something Nintendo would do, and this could very well be part of the plans for future Switch versions. As an example, those are tablets, so maybe you start taking the tablets themselves, not this iteration, but future ones, and using them together in this way, in these unique kind of ways that might even not be for gaming applications. There might be other applications they could find for this. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe you guys have some cool ideas. But yeah, Nintendo filed this patent. Now, Nintendo files lots of patents. It doesn't mean that this stuff's going to come true, but this is obviously for some type of tablet-based hardware that does these really cool connectivity things. This sounds like something really fun for kids, in my opinion, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see if this ever comes to fruition, but it is, again, a brand new patent as of April 12th. That's rather recent, but hey, you guys make of it what you will. Our third big story from this week deals with a likely fake, in fact, I'm just going to call it a fake, Smash leak that features Springman versus Decidueye. And the reason that I'm calling this fake is not because it's not well done, but because it comes from 4chan, and all of the assets seen, and it is a video that you're watching right now, all of the assets seen in it are ones that can be ripped currently from existing games. This is important because while yes, asset reusing does happen in the Smash Bros. Game, they do make a lot of original assets as well, and it's pretty rare that you get on a stage that is just reused assets in Smash Bros. They usually are doing things with it. Plus the animation, the standing animation for Springman looks a little off and a little stiff in the leg area. When he's bouncing like this, the legs aren't really bouncing correctly. That is not something that Sakurai would allow in a standalone animation for a character. So this is definitely fake. Plus we know that the director behind ARMS pretty much confirmed that no ARMS characters would be in the Smash game, at least at launch, because he said that ARMS is too new of an IP to even be considered. So we have the director of ARMS telling us don't expect ARMS characters in Smash, and then this supposed leaked footage suddenly has ARMS characters in it, and Decidueye, which, for those who don't know, that character's in Pokken Tournament, straight ripped out of there. So yeah, I'm not really putting much stock in this, but the reason we're even mentioning it is because I got to give an applause. I mean, well done. We see a lot of leaks out there. If you go on 4chan, you're going to find thousands and thousands of Smash and Pokemon and new Mario and Switch leaks, and 99.9% of them are crap. Now, there's always that 0.01% that's actually right, and that's why people even pay attention to 4chan for leaks. But the reason I wanted to give this attention is because whoever made it, whoever put in this effort, because when you see the video, the GameCube controller, the Switch is on, there's a TV, it certainly looks, it looks good. And it looks good in that this is probably one of the best fan-made fakes I've ever seen for a leak. So take that for what you will. I actually think this is good enough to deserve a highlight on our show, because it's rare we see leaks that are this good. Usually it's just mocked up images, and those are much easier to pull off than something that's fully animated like this. With the cinematography it has. Obviously, the off-screen footage isn't necessarily new, but the way the footage works, the unique nature of this, the fact that this isn't so easy to just be like, hey, look, we just copied something from like Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and just changed out character models or something. This looks like something a bit more involved, including creating custom animations for Springman. It is what it is. And what's interesting here is that Springman jumps way too high, I think, for any Smash character, but you guys let me know what you think about that down in the comments below, and I'll put a link in the description so you can go check out the 4chan thread, and who knows, maybe you want to believe this. I'm calling it fake, but it's a very good fake. So some other stuff we have to get through today. The producer of Dragon Quest XI, Hokuro Okamaru, stated in an interview with DualShockers that the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI is based on the PlayStation 4 version. This is extremely, extremely important to note because for a while people had thought maybe it's going to be the 3DS version ported over to Switch with HD textures. No, the PlayStation 4 version runs on Unreal Engine 4 while the 3DS version does not. They're essentially two separate games with like the same story and all that. But it is going to be the full PlayStation 4 version, the fat version, the console version of it. Great news out there for people who are excited for the game. And you want to know even better news? All localized versions of this game will not be censored. And that's a big deal because Dragon Quest games, among many other games out there, have traditionally been censored when brought to the West, specifically in the United States, but also sometimes in Europe as well. This time around, Dragon Quest XI will see zero censorship. The Switch version is based on PlayStation 4, uses Unreal Engine 4. We also know, based on a prior report that I mentioned in another Prime News episode, that they are waiting on an update on Unreal Engine 4 on Switch to finally bring it over. But it is going to be coming to Switch. It is the full fat version, and it's not going to be censored. What more could you really ask for besides the Unreal Engine 4 version being updated faster so we could have Dragon Quest XI today instead of a few months from now or whenever they finally get that support out there. Moving on, here's another really neat story. So the 7 monks in the Trial of the Sword actually matched the sages from Ocarina of Time. And this took a while for anyone to notice, and I have to give full credit to Reddit user Camulin for pointing this out. But essentially, when you see them do like their hand signals, one goes like this, and another one like this, and another one doing the cross. Those are all the marks that all the different sages did in Ocarina of Time. Now you could use this for timeline speculation, although it doesn't really help because all the references to Ocarina of Time don't really matter since Ocarina of Time is where the timeline split into 3. So I mean, someone out there is going to stretch it and say this is anything more than just a callback, just a reference, just a cameo, an Easter egg. But it's there. It's cool. You're seeing it now. I'm going to give a little bit of credit as well to Game Explain because the footage you're seeing of it now is footage that they compiled of the images. It was just easier to use something that was already put together instead of me cutting up the images and splicing them together. So credit the Game Explain for pointing this out. That's actually where I first found it out, but the source of it is actually Camulin on Twitter. Link to the Twitter thread down below. Now, another interesting story actually deals with ukulele. Yes, ukulele's back in the news because Playtonic put up a brand new blog post announcing that new content is coming to ukulele soon. Whether this is paid DLC, free downloads, an expansion pack, maybe ukulele 2. I don't know what's happening, but Playtonic's got something up their sleeves. They've been really silent for a long time. I can't wait to see what happens because I honestly think ukulele is a heck of a lot better than some other people do. I'm having a good time with it. And what's important to also note here is that they're working on other stuff. So that would hint at maybe they're going to be announcing a new game at E3. I don't know, maybe that's stretching things a bit, but we do know they've been hiring even after ukulele was done. So chances are a new game could be getting announced from them soon. And this is always neat because Playtonic is made up of former Rare developers from back in the heyday. And while ukulele might not have been everything that people had hoped it would be, it's still very much got a lot of that old school Rare charm. So it'll be interesting to see what's next for this company as well as the new content. This is also a cool story. It turns out that Valkyrie Chronicles, the original game, is coming to Switch. Now, we've known for a little bit now that Valkyrie Chronicles 4 from SEGA is coming to Switch later this year, but now it turns out that Valkyrie Chronicles is releasing on Switch, at least on the eShop and in Japan, hopefully eventually to the West as well. It's going to cost what equates to $18.50 USD. But if you actually buy Valkyrie Chronicles 4 in Japan, you can get it for just $4.50 USD. Again, these are USD prices. You can convert them to yen, do what you want with them. It's just releasing in Japan, but assuming it performs well there and there's enough demand for it, as in Valkyrie Chronicles 4 actually does well here in the West, then they might bring Valkyrie Chronicles on over as well because it's already there. And there's already translations for it that exist, so it shouldn't be too difficult to bring it over, in my opinion anyways. Here's a note for you Splatoon 2 players out there. Registration is now open for the Splatoon 2 US/Canada Inkling Open 2018. Open qualifiers for teams of 4 will happen on April 21st, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, followed by the finals on April 28th at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Teams will be competing in Turf War during the open qualifiers and in ranked battle modes during the finals. Players will be competing for a chance to win a spot at the Splatoon 2 World Championships at E3 in June. Good luck to all potential competitors. I probably won't be among you. The Famicom Mini has actually started to appear at retailers as well in Japan, and we've known for a while that the Famicom Mini, the NES Classic, was going to come back this year. Nintendo announced last year it would come back this year, but now that we're starting to see the Famicom itself appear in retailers in Japan, this could hint that the NES Classic Edition is not that far behind, and by the time June rolls around, we could be seeing some more of those on store shelves. Nintendo has also done an excellent job, in my opinion, of keeping the SNES Classic in stock. I mean, look, I got one sitting right here. Like, I can go to, I just was at Walmart earlier today, and I saw like 10 of these in their locked case. So, yeah, they're doing a very good job of keeping those in stock. And with this NES Classic coming back, I feel like there's going to be little reason to worry about scalpers because Nintendo learned their lesson, it feels like, anyways. They lived up to their promises, I think, is what we can say about the SNES Classic, anyways. What another cool story today deals with Bethesda. They said on Twitter that they are focusing on Wolfenstein 2 on Switch in terms of improving performance and making it run just as well as it does, with Doom. Like Doom and Wolfenstein 2 run on the same engine, the same tech. They want Wolfenstein 2 to run at least as good as Doom, so they're working on performance and optimizations. They also said they don't have anything to announce when it comes to DLC. There's DLC that has come out and is coming to Wolfenstein 2. They're not ready to talk about that yet with Switch, probably because they're still trying to get the base game to run. Once that happens and sales start happening, they'll probably be willing to talk about DLC. They did release Doom as a complete version of the game with all the DLC, so I would expect to see the DLC for Wolfenstein 2 come as well. But we'll have to wait for more information on that, probably closer to the launch date of this game. As an update to a prior story, remember when Billy Mitchell had all of his records scrubbed from Twin Galaxies, and he's essentially the King of Kong. There's a movie about him and some other stuff going on. Well, he has responded to the Twin Galaxies allegations of cheating and banning him and removing all of his records. And he says that he intends to release all of the evidence he has that proves his scores are completely legit. So he's denying that he cheated and says he has tons of evidence to prove that he didn't. He says no details as to when he might do this, because oddly enough, at the time that he made this rebuttal, he was actually at a con of sorts signing autographs as the King of Kong. So that's a little awkward. Hey, all your records are being removed from the thing, but hey, guess what? You're still going to sign autographs and pretend that you're... I don't know. It feels just weird timing to keep kind of live his life as the King of Kong when he's under all these allegations. And on top of that, the Guinness World Records, by the way, is removing his records as well. They're actually scrubbing the entire records that he is involved in and starting clean. So now there's like no records for those games. People have to earn them now new again. Billy Mitchell will not be included in that. I don't even think Billy Mitchell will have a chance to get those records back. I doubt his evidence can overdo the overwhelming proof that the MAME emulator was being used. And it's funny because like there's actually records you can hold with the MAME emulator. So I don't know what to think about this. You guys let me know what you think about Billy Mitchell in the comments below. It's no secret that Suda51 wants to springboard off of Travis Strikes Again to create No More Heroes 3. And we do now know, thanks to the director of Suda51, that the Travis Strikes Again is actually a combination of ideas that he had used for other games or was working out for other games that never went through. So it turns out that those ideas got thrown into Travis Strikes Again and that he wants to do No More Heroes 3. But what's really cool about this is that he does not want to stop at No More Heroes 3. In fact, he would like to go well beyond that. Here's what he said in an interview. I'm totally with you on that. If TSA is available, my goal is to make No More Heroes 3. I have to go even further beyond this as well. Travis is such a part of me that I want more people to experience him. He'll go even more new places with new game ideas. So there you guys go. Travis Strikes Again, followed up by No More Heroes 3, and he wants to go even further than that. He's got tons of ideas. This is not a franchise that's being kind of milked. This is a franchise that they just absolutely love at Suda51, and they want to do more of it. And you know what? That's really all you can ask for from any developer, be it a AAA, be it a first party, second party, third party, indie, is that whatever they're working on, they're truly passionate about it and not just looking at the dollars and cents. Yes, the dollar and cents matter. You got to make money. You got to support your family and support the studio and get new equipment and support getting your hands on new platforms and expanding your audience and all that stuff. But more importantly, you got to work on something you believe in. And it definitely, Suda51 certainly believes in Travis Touchdown in the No More Heroes franchise. So you guys let me know what you think about all of these stories down in the comments below. Man, that was a lot of news. Again, our most jam-packed Prime news ever. Not a lot of opinions, too much stuff to get through. You guys let me know what you think, and maybe I'll comment on some of that stuff on our next episode of Prime Comments. As always, folks, I'm Nathaniel Revelgents from Nintendo Prime, and if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. All of this ensures that you might see more of our videos. I say might because you might want to comment below as well. That also kind of increases your chance. It's funny how there's no literal button to be like, I want to be notified of every video this channel does. There's no button that exists for that. YouTube just doesn't care. I'm going to keep complaining about it until they fix it. All right, folks. I'll catch you guys in the next one.